This touches on a story that I read in the paper, the internet version of the paper, this week. How many heard about the story of a family that caught in a rip current down in Florida, Panama Beach? You heard that story? It's tremendous. I encourage you to look it up and read it, because the account of it is powerful. It's really powerful. A couple of boys, 8 and 12, got separated from their family, 6 others in the family, got separated, 4 others, and they ended up in a rip current 300 yards offshore. And they're jumping up and down, and they're waving their arms, and they're trying to get some help. And the mother, the grandmother, the uncle, and an aunt were already in the shore, and they turn around and they see their kids out there, so they start making their way out there. Well, pretty soon the 6 of them are stranded out there, and grandma is having a heart attack. And there are 4 other people that go try to help them. They try and swim out there. Well, this is not advisable. So now there are 10 people out there, 300 yards offshore, and they're losing strength. They may not make it. The police show up, the rescue squad shows up, and they say, one of the policemen dives in, tries to swim, comes back saying, no, not a good idea. So he comes back and they say, the best thing to do is wait for a boat from the Coast Guard. So they're all on the beach waiting for a boat. And the people are out there dying. And they're all watching them. So there's this husband and wife who were just visiting there. They just had dinner on the beach, just a little romantic getaway thing. And they see this, they hear the screaming, and they see the commotion on the shore. And the lady is a very strong swimmer. She says, I've practically lived in a pool. I'm a strong swimmer. And she started immediately started moving towards that family out there, saying to herself, these people are not going to drown. They're not going to drown. Not while I have anything to say about it. And her husband took off for the beach, and he started to say, well, they didn't have rope, they didn't have anything. He said, well, we can make a human chain. And so it started with 3 or 4. That's a long way out there for 3 or 4. And so they start to grab hands. Well, pretty soon people are flocking to it like ants at a picnic, right? And people are, well, here, I can, here, grab on. And pretty soon, and some people couldn't swim, so they said, well, I have to stand where I can touch the bottom. And so some people were standing up to their knees, and some people were standing up to their chins. 80 people. 80 people. They stretched almost all the way out there. And then they still couldn't quite reach the family. But this woman, who was a very strong swimmer, would swim out far enough to get one and drag it back this way far enough for somebody to grab on. And then they'd pass this person. This person would climb along the people until they got to shore. The grandmother's eyes were rolling back in her head. She had a heart attack. The mother said to them, just leave me. Save my family. And this woman says, not on your life, sister, in so many words. And they get all 10 of them to shore. And the grandmother ends up being ambulanced to a hospital where she receives critical care attention, and she's off the ventilator and she's recovering. Now you could take that, anyone here could take that story and preach it about 6 different ways, right? There's so many lessons we can learn from that. These weren't necessarily even Christian people. But think of all the people that came together who didn't know each other. There were probably people there from 30 different states. Old, young, white, black, gay, straight, Jewish, Gentile, every different kind of stripe, and nobody checked each other's political affiliation before they grabbed on. Oh, we're going to have a Republican chain over here. You Democrats, you Get your own line over there. And they came together and they accomplished life-saving miracle. It's the grace of God. See, that's not just human beings. That's the grace of God working through human beings. He's the one that puts compassion in our hearts because compassion is from Him. And wonderful things can be done when people join together, see a need, and work together to fill that need. And to focus on who they're holding hands with that normally they wouldn't even talk to, doesn't matter. Because together we're accomplishing this great task. And that's the picture of church. That's church. Right? And you wouldn't have necessarily picked the people who are here to be in this human chain with. But here they are. And when you link your hands and you link your work and your effort and your ideas for car shows and you bring friends, holding hands together, figuratively speaking, people can climb all over you to get to Jesus. They can get saved. They can get saved. And you have a place in that chain. Each of you. Maybe it's in a different building somewhere. That's your home church. But in the kingdom of God, you have a place in the human chain that is critical. And no one else can play that part. No one else can be who you are, where you are, when you are, and be there for who else is there. No one. God has called you. And it may not be to a mission field far away. It may not be to a pulpit. It may not be to a nursing home. It might be to a welder, an auto shop, a Hobby Lobby, I don't know. He can call you anywhere. And that's where you alone can do the thing He's called you to do. And chances are it's something that thrills your soul to consider, but you're afraid to admit it, even to yourself, what that dream is, what that calling is. And this is what I was going to share, so you'll just have to guess. But